Have I got that right?
Yes, that's
Good.
absolutely right.
Got to get these things right. As an entertainment writer, Zoe Griffin is an entertainment blogger. Very good morning.
Morning.
Well, they're obviously having a bit of a laugh with the whole thing there, but something's gone wrong. Do you think it is the voice for Cheryl?
Well, some things about it don't add up, because over the past 6 months there's been a lot of speculation about whether she'd do it or whether she wouldn't, and during that time she would have spoken. You think that the X Factor boss in the States would have gone away and heard her talk. She's gone over there for meetings, and then suddenly at the last minute they say they can't understand her. Like, there's a bit of, it's a bit too convenient that during that 6 months she has been talking about the X Factor. If you added up, a penny for every time the X Factor had been talked about in the press, and I'll probably be richer than Simon Cowell by now,
So, what, you smell a rat and you think this is simply about generating publicity?
Well, if you look at who's presenting the X Factor in the States, it's Steve Jones, who's got a very strong Welsh accent. And I ask you, is the Welsh accent easy to understand than the Geordie accent? I don't really think it is. I think the Welsh accent is equally as hard to understand. I think Ant and Dec, they've had a TV show out in the States, and they're Geordies as well, and that did OK.
Chris, well, it's a lot of humiliation for Cheryl Cole to go through if it's just a publicity stunt.
I think this is hugely humiliating for Cheryl Cole. I don't believe this is a publicity stunt at all. It's humiliating for her, it's humiliating for Simon Cowell, who's championed her, it's humiliating for regional accents, it's humiliating for big hair and purple trousers, as both of those have been banded as reasons as to why this could have happened. I think that what happened was that when they first started, they realised that there wasn't the chemistry that they were looking for. I don't think they'd ever had all 4 judges together before. And also, I think Cheryl was particularly nervous because she really wasn't qualified for the job over there. She's a great pop star in the UK, but there are some amazing pop stars in Azerbaijan, but we wouldn't have them judge the UK X Factor, and it's exactly the same.
One of the things, though, that strikes me about Cheryl is that she's nerveless rather than nervous. I mean, she's got an enormous amount of confidence on screen, but do you think she did lose her nerve in such a massive amount of pressure?
I don't think Cheryl Cole will ever lose her nerve. I don't think you can ever underestimate Cheryl Cole. She came from, Newcastle Council Estate to become one of the 1/5 of the biggest girl band in history. Like, they're in the Guinness Book of Records for being so successful. They've made millions since they started about 9 years ago, and she wouldn't have gone over to the States without lawyers looking through that contract, advising her not to sign it if there's any chance she'd get dropped. She knows her public image, and so she would have, she would have studied the contract before they offered her the job.
Chris, I'm trying to think of someone who we've exported to the States who has got a strong regional accent.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Can you think of any?
Mentioned a few. Cat Deeley has got one. We've also got, as you said, Steve Jones. But the point is, they are not there to judge people. Cheryl Cole is there to judge. Now, if no one's heard her sing or perform or do anything, how can she sit there and tell someone who's a contestant on the show whether they're good or bad? And on the subject of it being a publicity stunt as well, I don't think this is making huge headlines over there. Like, some girl that no one's ever heard of who speaks a bit funny, who's off a show that hasn't been broadcast yet, isn't making huge news.
But
over here, it's massive.
And the X Factor is coming back to the UK, so the X Factor will start filming in June.
Is she going to be on it?
Well, she could be on it, because they've only announced 3 people. They've announced Gary Barlow, who's going to be amazing, Louis Walsh, obviously, Kelly Rowland, and then there's a gap. So Lisa from N-Dubs was meant to be doing it, but Cheryl Cole could come back.
It's a £2 million question. That's apparently what she's asked for.
I'll do it.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. That brings us to the end of breakfast. Have a lovely day. We're back tomorrow, BBC One, 6 o'clock.